Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to Pit Road Productions, or indeed to Swellio Almeida's channel if you're joining us on there, or indeed Pit Road Productions Twitch, ladies and gentlemen. I got to say we're a little underrepresented on that, so we figured we'd kick it off and see if you guys want to watch over there on this fine Saturday morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today is the one and only Mr. Michael Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Please give him a huge, warm Pit Road Productions welcome, as we do indeed get him here in the booth. Michael, we're going to do an SRF here at Sebring Club today. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's two things I actually enjoy a lot. The SRF, I remember these guys when I was working at Summit Point. SRF would come out all the time, and people would bring them to even just track days. So fun little car, easy to drive, but hard to drive fast, as we're going to see. And Sebring Club, it takes out these long straights that just don't sit well with this particular car. And I think it's going to bring the action a whole lot closer, a whole lot more wheel to wheel, mirror to mirror, as it were. These guys are going to have some amazing racing in front of them over the next little bit.
Absolutely, and indeed, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not met Michael Johnson before, he is on the right of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the legend, and actually a real racing driver as well. So he's definitely going to know what he's doing behind the wheel, certainly a lot more than myself. But Michael, it's a pleasure to have you here in the booth for the Almeida Racing Academy, indeed the Almeida League. Ladies and gentlemen, certainly if you want to be involved in this league, you do have to be a member, so check out swellioalmeida.com, get in on that. Definitely there is that beautiful online course as well, the motor racing checklist. Be sure to check that out as well. But honestly, be a member, ladies and gentlemen. That is the way to go, because you've got the pit parties to go at, you've got the community there to support as well. Obviously, if you want a little bit more personal one-to-one coaching, they do offer that as well. Connor Bell being one of the coaches, as is Kane Halliburton, the head coach as well. But Michael, what we probably should do here is go over the championship points as well and see exactly how things are shaping up so far this season.
Indeed, the championship is really working out as best it can. There's a good bit of a struggle going on for some of the people. Starting off at the top, we got Edwin Glass, and then Gabriel Ardigio with Vitas
Valdes Van Savicius. He's definitely got a...
Thank you.
Yes, he's I don't think he can generally find a mug with his name on it, bless him, when he goes on holiday. He does have a beautiful collection of letters there that comprises his name. But indeed, some good battles. Michael, by all means, carry on.
Yes, and Martin Visser behind him with Andres Ansad. Then we've got Michael Cords, different Michael out there, not me. Logan Harvey, Edwin Vaughn, Jeffrey Adkins, John Hopley. Is it Hopley or Hopley? I think it's Hopley. And then, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. We got a good couple of battles going on here. As you can see here, we don't just have battles going on here in just this split, ladies and gentlemen. There is indeed two splits, and there is a pro and there is a club and a premier championship going on. If you see them here on the screen, the premier drivers are going to be represented by the gold on the left hand side. The silver is going to be the club drivers, and if you see somebody in green, ladies and gentlemen, that is who we are indeed focusing on, and that's exactly who we're focusing on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can get an onboard lap with Kevin Adrian very shortly. Now, Michael, I'm sure you're very familiar with Sebring here. Let's see if we can wait to get round to the start of the lap and then get a little bit of an onboard dialogue from yourself.
Indeed, these cars are going to be a lot of fun to watch around this track, as I mentioned before. And I find it interesting to see, look how much interloping there is here. We've got a bunch of these silver marked cars that are up into the greens, so doing quite well. And here we are with Kevin Adrian trying to make his way through here. He's going to come up, going through the Cunningham section up into Tower turn. Nope, sorry, that was the wrong part of the track. That was turn 5. Coming up under the footbridge. I love this little straight going down to the hotel. There's so much action that's available to you right here, because it all depends on how you get out of that. Then the slowest corner on the track, through a couple of S's. You got to line the car up. Through here, especially in these cars, turn the wheel as little as possible. You really don't want to have too much scrubbing. Then here we are coming up into Cunningham and Collier. hard on the brakes. Look at him come up into this, just touched the curb, missed it, gonna get a little bit sideways, and fortunately missed the wall. That could be dangerous if you catch the wall there. Watching on another car, the number 29 coming up into that corner. Car in front of him, way too much curb. You see how it affected him. You just want to kiss that curb, just a light little touch. And here we are coming up into a nice little straightaway down into the brakes. A tower turn full on the gas. Use the whole track. That would be the car we were previously on with. And now this turn through, this cut through, boy, that's tough, because especially if you've raced the full track a lot, you're used to just hammering it and going up into Bishop's Bend at that point. Not the case here. Oh, and a little bit wide as we run up under the bridge again, coming through here. Now, this again, down this straightaway, coming up here. This is where we're going to see so much action. Coming past the bridge, looking at the 4-3, and then into the brakes hard, not locking them up. Catch that little bit of curbing there. Whole lot of curbing on the exit. You can even hit the dirt out there on that exit. That's actually kind of important. The dirt really doesn't slow you down there, so you really want to get onto it. And this is with Connor Bell, so you expect him to be doing it right. Then good, strong into the brakes, trail it in there. A little bit too much curb for him, but got a beautiful exit curbing there. Now this is a spot that I like to highlight. Notice how Connor came far to the left. In real life, we do not do that. At least the pros don't do that. We swing out to the right side. It takes a little bit of a lift or a little bit of scrub to get the car to come around over to that left side, and it doesn't pay off. But I see a lot of amateur drivers and a lot of even pro level sim drivers who try to do that just to make the most of a turn that you don't need to make the most of, because right after it is kind of nothing. Anyway, here we are coming up once again, get a nice wide shot, heading up under that bridge. Watch them as they come down into here. They look at those cones on the left side. Those are your markers. That's where you try to figure out, where am I going to hit the brakes? Where do I need to make this little beast slow down? And it can vary as the track moves on. It gets hotter, it gets cooler, it gets more rubber on it. All sorts of things can happen. I was about to say, well, you could get a little oil down there, but not in the sim.
Well, definitely grateful that we don't have oil spills or indeed much for mechanical failures here in iRacing just yet. Certainly, it's one of the things that we often take for granted here is the reliability of the car within the sim. Certainly, you do get accident damage, but one thing's to say for sure, Connor Bell, one of the Almeida Racing Academy lead sim as a staff, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed a very capable driver, a very capable coach. Not only that, talented in real life as well. Been doing very well in NASCAR Canada, and indeed he actually ended up moonlighting over in SPC the other day, helping out co-drive with Nathan Block, ladies and gentlemen, in that beautiful 370Z. I have had the pleasure of commentating on that car here in real life, but right now he was missing last week, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Joyner does indeed make his return, and one of the biggest things I can see here, Michael, is how the draft, certainly myself being an SRF veteran in my own right here on the sim, knows just how important it is to get a good draft. But I definitely relate to what you're saying here. Sebring itself, especially the club circuit, if you're used to doing the full layout, can definitely be a little bit confusing at times, and certainly a few of the drivers maybe need a little bit of refinement perhaps to get used to that. But certainly these guys will all be an absolutely insane amount quicker than me, ladies and gentlemen, and that is indeed what happens if you drive with the Almeida Racing Academy.
Indeed, I can't say enough about getting some coaching. Even I, as a professional driver, I have coaches and other drivers. We, like on the same team, we of course coach each other. We don't want to think we know it all. Well, that's not true. We do want to think we know it all, but we're aware enough to know that we don't. So getting out there and doing what we do, and then comparing our data with the data of the other drivers, it makes a big difference. Now, a big thing about coaching, and I think you'll find this with the Almeida Academy as well as other coaches, is it's not about, here's what I did, just do that. Just because I was able to brake at the 50 marker or the 100 marker, or I was able to carry this much speed through the corner, that's only a part of coaching. And I like to separate it out in coaching and instruction. Instruction is just do what I did. Coaching involves so much more. With coaching, you have to make sure that you're getting the head right, that you're getting the mindset right. And I think that's something you get from the Almeida Academy. They're more than just brake here, throttle here, turn here. It's all about what is your thought process of doing this? Why are you doing it here, but you didn't do it back there, even though they're similar turns? And I think you're going to find that with Almeida, they really are trying to get the full picture of the driver instead of just copycat what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. I do find that they teach strategy, not just, it's not really a lap guide. It's more teaching you the skills. So certainly, if you ever want to see like a little bit of a sample of that, tune in to watch Swelio's videos, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, if you're watching on Swelio's channel, you found your way here, and for good reason, ladies and gentlemen. He is a hero among sim racers. Now, for those of you who do not know the story of Swelio Almeida, he started as a pianist over in Brazil. From there, he ended up getting into sim racing, and he started just like a lot of us did, ladies and gentlemen. He had that old Logitech going, it looked like a G25 from going off the pictures, strapped to a desk. And then he found he's quite good at sim racing. He started coaching. And then from there, he did it differently. And I think he's the first person I've ever seen really do it. He made a course. He made a book, ladies and gentlemen, the Motor Racing Checklist. From there, he managed to have so much success with that. He bought a real radical SR3 race car, raced in real life, and then won the championship here in North America on the eastern side, ladies and gentlemen, taking in circuits such as I believe Calaburgi would have been on there. I believe Tras Rivieres may have been on there. I think they did go as well down to Sonoma as well. Please forgive me. It's been a little bit of a while since I watched it, but certainly it's if you've ever seen Drive to Survive, ladies and gentlemen, think about the stuff that you see behind the scenes, a little bit of the drama and the story and the stuff like that. It's worth watching for that. There was a fantastic rivalry with some people on the grid, and it was absolutely moving and beautiful as a story. But from there, he won that championship and then went on and now races in IMSA, ladies and gentlemen, and is indeed racing this weekend as well at Road Atlanta, which I gotta admit is top of the Princess Approved track list for me.
Yeah, Road Atlanta is kind of the place where I was able to cut my teeth. I grew up racing. I was about 8 years old when I first started, but then when I was finally able to get behind the wheel of a real car and not just a cart, one of the places I was based out of Charlotte and did some racing at Charlotte, but Road Atlanta was the place to really go and do it. So I love Road Atlanta. I have so many memories there. I have so much development of me as a racer there, and it's a beautiful track for doing that. It gives you a little bit of everything. You got uphill braking, downhill braking, S's, fast sweepers, slow semi sweepers, hard corners. I love that downhill final corner that is just hang on for dear life. And if you don't have the car set up right, it's going to destroy your lap. I've seen a lot of people try to go through there in their street cars flat out. It's like, well, that works with race tires and that works with maybe a little bit of downforce, but I don't know that I would try that in my new 911 that I just drove off the showroom floor.
Definitely, that is one thing that I am grateful to the sim for. If I get it wrong, the consequences are financially pretty minimal, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly myself, I've not quite as accomplished as Mr. Johnson joining me in the booth here, but certainly I've got a lapping and the time attack license and a bit of rallycross experience as well. But myself finding that you need to have the courage to be able to push the car to that kind of limit as well. And definitely fair play to the drivers who can not only just get the opportunity but take that in. But ladies and gentlemen, that does indeed bring qualifying to an end. Absolutely fantastic stuff and really shaking up the standings today. Ian Joyner makes his return, not surprising, but let's take a quick look here at the grid. So on the front of the row, we're going to have Adam Mika alongside Ian Joyner with Edwin Riviera there in third. Connor Bell, he in theory is going to start fourth. He may black flag himself and start from the back. It remains to be seen. Yan Cheek, he returns here to Almeida Racing Academy. He's going to be there in fifth, actually the fastest of the club drivers as well. Gabriel Ardigo, now it's great to see him back. He's been having some really good success so far. A little bit lower down than he has been so far this season, but still very much in the mix there in sixth. Javier Sobrino, he's there in seventh alongside Martin Visser, who's having a great season, ladies and gentlemen. He's there in eighth. And closing out your top 10, you got Zedek Hamak in ninth, and then one of the only lady drivers we got here, Chloe Charpentier, is there in 10th. As we have
11th, we're looking at Thomas Noiseau and then Rich Mesters in 12th, finishing out the 6th row there. Brandon Priest with Giannis alongside in 19th. Sorry, car number 19. We've got Thomas Niemanen and is that Kevin Adrian? Yeah, Kevin Adrian, who we were on board with just a little bit earlier. Mako Marinovic and Jacques Cortesi with Manfred Floor, Philip Falcon, Domenico Sari, and I have lost my place here.
That's all right. Here we go. So you can see the guys are getting ready in the background. So as we start at 21st, we're going to have Domenico Seu. He's there alongside Steve Saunders in 22nd. One of the Finland drivers here, actually, it's good to see Thomas Niemanen has got some company. Ilari Arnio, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be there in 23rd. Mark Schmerder, he takes 24th with Mario Strelec there in 25th. Philip Masson, a French driver. We've got a couple of them here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He's here in 26th alongside Peter Ibrishimov in 27th. Neil England closes out 28th, the American driver, with Jonathan Gutman there in 29th, and then followed by Kane Halliburton. I do believe he is put himself at the back of the grid. He's there in some ways in 30th, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed closing out that grid. We do see Angus Lemon is actually in split 2. Carlos Prudencia, I'm not seeing here on my standings, so we will have a quick check here, make sure we have indeed got him listed. But that is going to be your starting grid. As I do see that's one of the coaches pulled over. I'm going to make a good guess it is indeed Connor Bell, as I can see him falling through the standings.
Indeed it is. I was just checking on that, wanted to make sure it was who we thought it was, and did exactly what you said. Good idea from the coaches here, being able to let the students, as it were, shine, and then work their way through the field, and maybe offer some encouragement as they work their way through.
Well, definitely is. If you could, I don't know, certainly in previous seasons we've had it before where you got bonus points for being able to fight with the coaches, but they're not going to have to worry about that right now. It's indeed going to be a race of survival, ladies and gentlemen, as Adam Mika is there at the front of the grid. Ian Joyner already looking to apply a bit of pressure, and he's got it, ladies and gentlemen. He's ahead, but only barely 500ths of a second in it. Already you can see people moving throughout the pack. No major incidents so far, except for maybe Manfred Floor. He's showing down 10 positions, 8 positions, ladies and gentlemen. He's back there in 27th right now.
Yeah, looks like he had a little bit of trouble on the start there. Maybe got a little wiggly at a spot or two. But right now, taking a look at this, we've got good, strong, tight pack at the front. Little bit of a push right there from the 31. Wants to get in there. Adam Mills thinking he can put a little bit of pressure. What do we got? What happened?
That's the Zenek Hamak has just taken a little bit of an off there, got a little bit of car contact on the inside, and that's going to push them there to the back of the grid, ladies and gentlemen. You can see a couple of cars floating behind him. Manfred Floor is one of them. Kane Halliburton as well. He's even, nope, it's good. He's up there, ladies and gentlemen. So interesting stuff happening throughout the field. We're going to be seeing some battles there. We'll maybe try and catch a replay of that very shortly, but right now you can see Ian Joyner has managed to pull away 4/10 per second. Edwin Riviera looking to apply a bit of pressure. He is indeed the reigning champion right now. Well, I say the reigning champion, the championship leader right now, and right behind him, not to be left out, Gabriel Ardigo applying pressure there in 4th.
Yeah, good racing there by Edwin. Edwin gets the nose in there at the right point. Unfortunately, takes Adam out a little bit. Oh, and it's getting a little argy-bargy. Yeah, but not too bad. Honestly, I don't mind a little bit of door-to-door or wheel-to-wheel, mirror-to-mirror kind of stuff. I think that's okay. iRacing doesn't always agree with that, but you know, a little bit of that is normal as long as you don't take the other car out.
Well, as you say that, something has happened to one of the Finland drivers of Ilali Arnio. Let's see exactly what happened here. Oh my. It's just gone a little bit wide there. That's 4 wide on the back straight, ladies and gentlemen. And miraculously, they survived. You just see him pull off. Absolutely incredible, though. I was not expecting to see 4 wide here at Sebring today.
A 4 wide at Sebring is possible, but not advised, especially when you see little bits of vehicle flying off. So, yeah, don't really think that's a good idea. But, you know, early in the race, people get their tempers up, get excited, ready to run. You got to keep your head cool. You have to, and that's something you'll learn if you're working with a coach like the ones here at the Almeida Academy.
Well, certainly myself, I am known to be a little bit hot-headed as a driver, hence I put myself more in the broadcast booth for good reason, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, there is a huge amount of battling happening further back. It's for P9, ladies and gentlemen. You can see Rich Meesters there trying to defend from Kevin Adrian, the fellow Canadian. Yanis Biafanopoulos looking to try and get back on track there. And there's been contact. Biafanopoulos there in the grass. Can he rejoin safely? Yes, he can, as they head down towards the right-hander.
That looks like the John Deere award for the day. Well done. Got a lot of grass cut over there. I'm not sure the groundskeepers are too happy about it because, hey, that's work they'd like to be doing. But here we are once again, a little bit of side-by-side, getting really close in there. This is getting tight racing through here. Look at them going too wide, coming up under the ridge. Now we're going to come into this really hard braking zone. This is the hardest braking zone on the track. Looks like trying to fight another day. Thinking a little bit better of trying to make that pass happen. So as we come through the S's here, back around, coming up towards Cunningham, this is going to be another one of those opportunities to pass. You see everybody here jockeying for position. We got a lot of side-by-side coming in. Oh, nice placement. Is he going to go too wide, or are we going to have a repass from the number 10? We were watching him earlier in broadcast trying to get a good clean lap, but look at that run. See, now the 64 doing it right, holding that right side. Not only is it defensive, it's just a tiny bit faster. Beautifully done there from the number 64, that other Canadian driver we have out there. But a little bit of oversteer trying to come out of that corner. That was that was a little bit too ambitious, possibly. But fortunately, it didn't take anything away from him.
Well, certainly Rich Meesters and Kevin Adrian having a good battle back there, but right now you can see Mark Schmurder, he's currently up 10 positions, and Niemanen is in his way of making it 11, ladies and gentlemen. You can see here, he's currently going down the back straight, and he's got Connor Bell right behind him. You can see that gold car, that Almeida Racing Academy driver, well, not just driver, he is a manager here at the Almeida Racing Academy, and you can see why, ladies and gentlemen, he is indeed a potent driver, already managed to make his way back up to 15th. He would have started at the back in probably P31, ladies and gentlemen, so doing absolutely fantastic. The potency of the one and only Mr. Connor Bell. Let's check in here with Yan Cheek, though. He's currently having a battle here. A battle? Well, maybe not. It might be one of those kind of days, Michael. But he's coming out of a battle here with Thomas Nassau, fighting for P6 overall. But currently, Yan Cheek second in the club class.
Yeah, taking a look at him here as we watch this little bit of side-by-side coming up into the corner. Good placement, clean, nice racing. Well done from all three drivers in this little pack here, trying to make sure they make it to the end of the race. We don't want to have anybody going too hard door to door. Here we come into this next little straightaway bit. This is going to be full throttle. This is draft heaven for these cars. Notice how he pulls off to the right side. Now we get coming out to the left side, going into the braking zone. Is he going to be able to hold on to that position? And just does, as they put the hammer down to come through the S's to head up towards Cunningham.
You can see here, Brandon Priest looking to try and find his way forward, but he's got two cars ahead of him, Yan Cheek and Thomas Nassau, both of them getting in the way. Don't get me wrong, do you want to try and force the free wide scenario? I'm going to say probably not, but if they do, it's going to be great entertainment for us anyway. Rich Meesters there, looking to put a little bit of a nose in there on the number 30 of Brandon Priest. Thinks better of it though for now. Let's check in here with the leaders. Right now we have a freeway fight. It's Ian Joyner, Edwin Riviera, and Gabriel Ardigo all fighting for the top spot. Now, Gabriel's got to be careful, ladies and gentlemen. He's currently leading the club class. He's had a great result so far. I almost feel that he does need to get promoted to gold. He's been that potent, ladies and gentlemen. He's definitely a premier class driver, but right now he's just got to keep his head in the game. Certainly he's going to stand him well in the points, but right now the whole pack of them have managed to pull away from Adam Beaker, who was your pole sitter at the start of this race.
Yeah, Adam sitting there in fourth place at the moment, but really good action up here. Ian was able to get around, and looks like Edwin's going to make that back around the outside. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on to that. It's tough positioning here. This is really tight, and we've got Gabriel sitting there in P3, really wanting to do something here, letting these guys fight, letting them wear their tires out, because look at those tires. Those are tiny tires. It may be hard to tell here from the camera, but if you were to put these tires on your car, like your normal street car that you drive every day, I don't think it would do much of anything, because they really are tiny tires, which is one of the nice things about SRF racing, though, is when your tires are that tiny, they cost next to nothing, and they really don't wear that much because these cars are so light. But when you get that side-by-side racing like we were watching there for a moment, that third place car was, Gabriel is thinking, yeah, you guys keep doing that. Scrub those tires. Scrub them harder. And we've got one around.
Yeah, definitely Brandon Priest is involved in an incident, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find out exactly what happened to him. He was up in a battle earlier on, and he's now dropped 10 positions. So you can see there, the inside car, I believe that was Martin Visser, catches a little bit of curb, runs a little bit wide, and sadly Brandon Priest gets the short stick on that scenario, ends up pushing him right back down through the field, and already getting into another battle here with Zedek Hammock. He's keen in pursuit, and the British driver, Steve Saunders, getting in on the action as well.
Yeah, this little group here, it is frustrating when you get through a bunch of traffic and then you make a mistake. Mistakes, look, I always tell everyone I coach is there is glory in a great mistake. If you make a mistake but you learn from it, I think we have a contender for the John Deere Award there, though. Getting wide, but hey, you know, sometimes, and this is one of the things about iRacing, if you go off track, you're going to get an incident point. But you have a certain number when you're in a situation that's like a league like this. If you're in regular iRacing, yeah, it can damage your I rating, or not your I rating, but your safety rating. But when you're in a league and you see an opportunity where there's somebody spinning and you go off onto the track, that's actually pretty good. Or if you're saving yourself, you want to use those points up to the last one you're going to use before. Ooh, a little more dirt getting thrown out here. Look at that. These guys, I think the groundskeepers are going to be really upset about this race.
Yeah, Neil England certainly seems to be carrying a little bit of damage there on the front of that car, and indeed one of them hasn't joined the Open Concept Spec Racer 4 Club. I believe it might be. Yes, it is indeed. It's Manfred Floor, the German driver, the driver up the number 74. You can see the closing speed was absolutely insane, but we got battles happening throughout the field, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a quick check in here. It looks like, yep, these three are still fighting out at the front of the pack. Ian Joyner and Edwin Riviera going hard at it. Gabriel Ardigo dropped back a little bit there. Adam Mika holding on to the next pack. He's currently there in P4. Third in Premier, Thomas Nassau, Yan Cheek. Actually, Yan having a very good race today. Hopefully he can keep it clean, ladies and gentlemen. Has been getting involved in a few incidents, but I think with a little bit of coaching, that is certainly starting to improve, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing much better today. We're going to wish him the best of luck. Further back, though, Rich Meesters. He's going at it with Chloe Charpentier and indeed Martin Visser as well, who was involved in that contact earlier. And as you can see, damage on the right front of that Spec Racer Ford.
Yeah, and damage on these cars really does cause a lot of performance issue. You lose so much with that much wheel showing. These are not open wheel cars per se. I mean, they kind of are underneath, and then they have this nice cowling over it. But when you get some damage like that, these cars are so reliant on being as smooth as silk going through the air that little bit of damage can just be damning to your race. It'll really mess you up in the long run. I got to give props for being able to stay out front like this. Looks like we've got another spinner. Oh, two of them.
That's an absolutely huge incident here. We're going to have to try and check a replay. It looks like Nassau and indeed Adam Mika got involved. Let's have a look and see exactly what happened.
Now let's watch this back. This is going to be Adam Mika. We're paused right now. It's not playing, but it looks like there was a little bit of trying to take position and then maybe a little net code, hard to say, but even still there could be contact there, and that'll just send both cars spinning off into the grass, unfortunately.
Absolutely catastrophic result there for Adam Mika. He started P1. He's now back down in P25. That is indeed going to be a very hard pill to swallow. It's himself and Neil England there going side by side. Now, this season, ladies and gentlemen, Almeida Racing Academy did not rock the team championship model. As I say that, Kane Halliburton making a couple of moves up there as well. He's showing us up 20 positions right now. He didn't qualify and has now just made his way into the top 10, albeit only just, ladies and gentlemen, as he makes a pass on the 33 of Thomas Nassau, who we saw just a moment ago getting involved in that incident with oh my gosh, it's escaping Adam Mika.
Adam Mika, again, started on pole, I think. Was it pole or second? I think he was on pole, doing great, having a wonderful race, and then, well, whoops, little things happen. A little more argy-bargy going on here as we get deeper into this race, watching these guys trying to go a little bit too wide. It's an interesting thought. You sometimes think, hey, if I put my nose out here, it's going to put some pressure on this guy in front of me, but it is also going to compromise your lap. Do you get enough out of being in the draft? Doesn't look like it in that case as we watch that gap opening up, going down this long straightaway, coming up once again to our braking zone. This is the big braking zone of the whole track. Looks like I might be wrong, but I think there was overlap between those two cars. Looking like the green one there was getting a little bit of nose up underneath the tail of the one in front. This is our top three, so that'd be Gabriel getting his nose up under the tail of Edwin. Now we got a too wide situation once again, holding on to it, just trying to be mindful of the end of the race. We all want to win, but you got to make sure the end of the race is also on your mind.
Yeah, with just a minute and a half left to go, and indeed quite a low lap time here. These guys are rocking in the 1:12, so I'd say that 1 minute. Interesting, 1:10s as well. Let's have a quick look, see who the best lap is. But honestly, so very evenly matched between these drivers. As I say that, it looks like Kevin Adrian is getting into a battle as well. Philip Masson getting into it. And we're going to see free wide, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was going to happen for a second there. They backed out of it. Mark Schmoeder going to be involved in that battle. We have a freeway fight. All of these guys trying to fight for P12 right now. And not only that, Mark Schmoeder, he's in the Premier. But Kevin Adrian and Philip Masson, they're fighting for fourth in the silver class, the club class right now. Further up in the field, though, battles happening throughout. Kane Halliburton continuing to pull his way through the field. Chloe Charpentier right behind, though. A smart move there. She's currently third in the club class and can realistically use Halliburton for a free tow.
Yeah, in these multi-class situations, like in IMSA, for example, we have GTD Pro and GTD Am. The cars are identical. There is literally no difference other than the nut behind the wheel. So it is all about how you drive, and if you're being aware of who's in your class, who is your fight with, that is some advanced level racing. You're paying attention not just to where you are in relationship. That looks like a little bit of smoke in the background I saw there. Yeah, somebody must have hit some dirt. Nope, we just had two cars come back on track. Rolling down, that looks like, yeah, there we go. That's the one. Trying to turn in just a little bit too soon. Unfortunately, can't get these cars slowed down quickly enough. Goes pushing across the track, and here we are back into the race. That was a tough one right there. But anyway, back to the idea of being aware of who's around you. You don't want to make that mistake of trying to race someone you don't have a race with. If you're P1, 2, 3 in your class and it's a lower class, don't go trying to race the big dogs. Use them to your advantage.
Well, as we take the checkered flag, it's Ian Joyner who was able to take it at the end. Edwin Riviera at the second place. And then not only that, Gabriel Ardigo was able to take third. Incredibly short laps here. As you see, the battle's still commencing, ladies and gentlemen. Philip Falcon right there in the midst of it. You got a 4-5 car battle going on here, and that's contact there. Oh, gosh, I think they were over the line, thankfully, but definitely a few bonus instant points. I can see some black flags being shown here. Manfred Floor, he's carrying a black flag, as is Neil England as well, so penalties potentially after the race. But an absolutely fun-filled first round here at the Almeida Racing League.
Yeah, a couple of other black flags that I see, but I think the other two were actually instructors or coaches for the league. So those don't count so much. They're black flag just out of a courtesy to the other racers. But those others, I think those were after the race. I think that happened after the race.
Yeah, well, certainly it's there's a lot going on, but right now here is your result, and indeed I think that's going to set the grid here for race 2. Ian Joyner took the top spot with Edwin Riviera in second. Gabriel Ardigo is there in third. Yan Cheek, he took a second. Not only that in club class, but is there in fourth place. But I do believe we are maybe going to have to holster that for just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go through the grid instead. Let's try and focus with that. We have indeed got a little bit of a rearrangement. I don't know what the number was for the random invert this time, but certainly Thomas Nassil was able to capitalize on that. He's going to be there in P1 with Chloe Charpentier in second. Rich Meesters will take third with Martin Visser there in fourth. Javier Sobrino is going to be there in fifth with Yan Cheek in sixth. Gabriel Ardigo is in seventh with Edmund Riviera in eighth, and Ian Joyner in ninth. So it's a 9-car invert, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Schmoeder takes 10th.
Like Kevin Adrian's going to be in 11th with Mario Stelvich behind him, Brandon Priest and Philip Falcon, and then Peter Abrishamov I gotta get a name pronunciation or a pronunciation on that one. Zmetek Hamak, Jacques Cortese, Barry Arnio, and one of our Finnish drivers, Mako Marinovic, Thomas Niemanden, and then Adam Mika, who was our pole sitter last time, Jonathan Gutmann, Philippe Masson, Stephen Saunders, and then Manfred Floor at the end of that group.
As you can see here, Neil England, he's starting in 26th with Connor Bell and Kane Halliburton showing in 27th and 28th. Yanis Viavanopoulos, he's there showing in 29th with Dominic Seu there in 30th. Carlos Facanha, I've not yet seen him on the grid, but Angus Lemon, I can confirm, is indeed a split 2 driver, ladies and gentlemen, as that does indeed go over your grid here for the second race of the day.
Yeah, so lining up for this second race, see everybody out there ready to get going. I wonder if any lessons were taken from that first race. Everybody out there hopefully going to be a little more end of the race minded. Looked like we had some argy-bargy early on last race, which tends to happen. But I think with this race, also a 15-minute race, we'll see how it goes. But I think most people get the jitters out of that in that first race. Second race, it'll be time to really show what you're made of.
Absolutely. As Michael, I do understand you've got to resolve your optical solution, which is put your contacts back in, and that's okay, ladies and gentlemen. We anybody who's watched Pit Road Productions before knows that my eyesight is not always the best. But what I can tell you is, for the first time ever for the Almeida Racing Academy, we actually have a French closeout, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas Nassau and Chloe Charpentier have closed and locked off the front of the grid. Fair play to them. I think that's the only time we've ever seen that, other than potentially the American drivers being able to get in on that action. We got Canadian, though, back in third, and then I believe the Dutch driver Martin Visser and Spanish driver there of Javier Sobrino in fifth. One of the favorite things I absolutely love here about the Almeida Racing Academy, and indeed the whole community here, is we have people literally from all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, and that is a beautiful thing about racing. It is international. While we may not be able to speak different languages, or indeed our own at times, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure people can indeed attest to that, asking me to speak Canadian or indeed English. Racing is universal, and it's all about the way you drive the car, and it is generally enjoyed by people all over the world. I mean, just look at Formula One, for example. A worldwide racing series, as it is indeed going to be getting ready to get this race underway. Thomas Nassau is going to be starting us off there. He's about 2,700 I rating, ladies and gentlemen. We do have quite the variety here in the field. See Brandon Priest, he's rocking just about 3,800. One of the higher ranked drivers in here. Kane Halliburton, 8,174. It's fair to say some very, very potent drivers indeed in this field, as Nassau is going to be under a lot of pressure indeed. I do have to wonder just how well the coaches can do. And are we going to see Adam Mika make a recovery here as well? Certainly, we're going to wish him the best of luck. Definitely some opportunities here. The Finland drivers as well, they're alongside each other as well, back in 15th and 16th there. I do wonder, are we going to see a little bit of camaraderie here between drivers? I would certainly hope so. Don't get me wrong, there may be no team championship in this season of the Almeida Racing Academy, but indeed, we are green, 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 and already you can see 2 wide, 3 wide in certain scenarios. As Rich Meester's now stuck in the middle, and I can hear contact, and you can see there Visser has been pushed right off the track. You can see him there at the bottom of your screen as these drivers continue to fire around right by them. Michael, I understand you've returned.
Indeed, I have. I had to grab my glasses because I can't find that contact. I got one end, but I think it's backwards, so I grabbed my glasses. It sucks needing reading glasses. Fortunately, it doesn't affect me on the racetrack because the only thing I'm reading is far away, which is the number on the car in front of me. And we got another spinner. It looks like over at, a couple of them. This may have been a bigger incident than we thought. Going into the first corner, it looks like people not taking lessons from that last race. So, yeah, here we go, trying to get back in. That's going to be the number 5, the number 10, and another car that I did not get the number of, but yeah, those are going to be 3 very frustrated drivers.
Well, certainly one of the biggest things about heat racing I find is remembering that you are indeed getting into a fresh car at the start of the race. But right now, Thomas Nassau is holding on, and fair play to her. Chloe Charpentier is absolutely giving him a run for his money. You go, girl. She's currently there leading, leading the entire race right now for the club class, as Nassau puts his nose back up on the middle. Javier Sobrino, he's there right behind. But the favorite, I'd say the favorite, one of the regulars, ladies and gentlemen, one of the potent drivers that is Ian Joyner, has managed to make his way up 3 spots Are we going to see him be able to make his way all the way up to the front of the grid? You have to wonder. Certainly, there is passing opportunities here at Sebring, but he has 5 cars ahead of them, all of them fighting very much for that top spot on the podium. Gabriel Ardigo very much in pursuit as well.
Yeah, this race up front getting pretty exciting with that French pair sitting up front. But here we are back into the middle part of the field. This is where we're going to see a lot of really good racing, trying to come back up from maybe earlier mistakes, especially with the way some of that last race went. But we even got a little bit of bump drafting going on here. Bump drafting works really well in these cars, and look at that! Oh, overcooked that corner.
Oh,
went
that's
way
Chloe.
too far to the outside, and Chloe gets spun.
Definitely not what she wanted to have happen, ladies and gentlemen. It's so hard to get rejoined, doing everything she can to get round and back on track. Thankfully, no damage. We'll have to check a quick look at the replay. An unfortunate incident indeed. Let's take a quick look and see what happened.
Yeah, watch. Oh, just right coming in there. A little bit of contact on the rear of the car. That could bring a penalty. I'm not sure how it's going to go here, but we'll see what happens after the race. It's unfortunate that she got spun like that, because even if the other person does get a penalty, it doesn't undo the damage.
Yeah, certainly that is one of the things with race control, but from what I could see, I think she maybe just got a little bit too keen on the gas pedal. Certainly ourselves, we will wish her the best of luck and hope she can indeed recover through this race. Starting at the front of the pack is indeed a lot of pressure with 30 other drivers wanting that top spot. I can tell you that Adam Mika has retired this race. Connor Bell has retired, as has Thomas Niemanen, or at least they're certainly in the pits, ladies and gentlemen. Those 3 drivers are rocking the pits, as now Philip Messon is the last running car currently on the grid. He's there in 26th, but right now, battles happening throughout the field. This driver in particular, he's been getting into some good battles so far, but it looks like Edwin Riviera, your championship leader. Oh, contact there. That's Yanis Fianopoulos there again, absolutely sent into the weeds.
Yeah, that's a bummer too. Giannis was up, I believe it was 11 positions so far in this race. I think he was one of the top movers, the second most. It looks like Kane Halliburton is actually up 17. But Giannis was really making a move up the field there. Unfortunately, got a little contact and hit the wall. As you can see, some damage on the back of that car. Not going to be a good rest of the race for him.
Yeah, that was from Martin Visser. It looked like he came in incredibly hot, ladies and gentlemen, like alarmingly hot. Let's see if we can get a better view of that just there, because it's almost like he missed his brake point.
Oh yeah, that looks like somebody miscounted the cones. I can tell you from experience coming in there, you see the 4 cone and the 3 cone, and they kind of blend into each other, especially at speed. And if the car in front of you, if you look at their position as they came in there, it wouldn't surprise me to think that there was a little bit of unable to spot that, unable to see that cone, and then getting surprised going into the brakes. Next thing you know, you're in the back of another car using their brakes, which is ill-advised.
Yeah, definitely not my favorite way to bring a car to a stop, but right now you can see here Kane Halliburton. He's carrying a little bit of damage on the front of that car, and that's almost equalizing the field a little bit here. The coaches are incredibly potent, as we see time and time again, but going toe-to-toe here with Mario Strelek, or indeed Mark Schmerder, ladies and gentlemen, as that looks like Mario Strelek just pulling there to the side. Not quite sure what's happening with that car, as they are indeed falling back through the field right now, but Kane Halliburton on the charge. He's up an incredible 19 positions so far.
Oh boy, we got a big spinner on the number 28 car. Wow, that was an interesting one that I just saw in my side monitor. Here you see him coming back onto the track, but quite a tough spin on him. But hey, got some good company back there with Chloe Carpentier. Watch this, just no malice there, I don't think. Good positioning. Just that's one of those racing things that happens. You get in front and little contact turns into a big spin.
Yeah, definitely. The iRacing physics sometimes not quite as understanding that indeed rubbing is racing. Certainly myself, I have got no issues with trading paper. Right now, Neil England and Martin Visser are going hard at it. Now, Visser has been incredibly potent in the SRF this season, but having a little bit of time there, having a little bit of a challenge, getting it to the end of the race, certainly getting involved in a few incidents, and indeed that can happen. But it looks like we've got a whole series of cars fighting together, ladies and gentlemen, with Edwin Riviera leading that pack, and certainly he is currently leading the championship so far for Season 5 at the Almeida Racing League. But right now, he's got Steve Saunders right behind him. He's up 11 spots. Mayo Marinovic, he's been incredibly potent. Again, just consistency is key. But then not only that, right behind him, Zdenek Hammock and Philip Falcon getting involved in the action as well.
Yeah, some more good racing going on here as we watch this mid-pack battle. Line astern as they're running through the track here. This is, oh, we got a little side-by-side action, double side-by-side coming up into this hard braking zone. Once again, trying to defend off that inner corner there, trying to keep him off of that apex, but couldn't quite do it. Had to be a responsible racer and not let him go into the wall. So that was good work there from those two. Good racing, honestly. Getting that nose up in there, but then realizing you're not going to make the pass and backing out of it. That was really good, responsible racing.
Well, as you say that, the battle is indeed going on at the front of the grid as well. Thomas Nassau, he started P1, and so far, he's managed to hold on to it. We're about halfway through this race, but Ian Joyner, I did say he'd be one to keep an eye on, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, Gabriel Ardigo and himself are going side to side, toe to toe. Can Nassau hold on? He's got two legends right behind him, and albeit Gabriel Ardigo, a club-rated driver, but with a Premier Series performance, he's fighting. Not only that, further back, Rich Meesters, Javier Sobrino, and Yan Cheek all fighting as well.
Yeah, this is getting to be pretty heated up here. Look at this, though. We've got a really nice opportunity for some draft going down this long straightaway. Once again, this non-corner. It is a numbered corner. I forget the number, and it depends on the layout anyway. But really good. Oh, got over into the dirt. Oh, such a great move as he was going down that straightaway. Got a little bit too wide. I had that happen to me. Greg Lafuge and I were racing back at the beginning of COVID when IMSA decided to do some iRacing races to at least give the audience something to see. And I was in a Porsche GTE, and he was in, I think, also a Porsche GTE, and we were coming down to that same corner. I did the exact same thing, got two wheels on the left in the dirt, and my car just turned 90 degrees, and I shot straight across the track. Greg was very lucky that I did not make contact with him because I was going for that outside pass. He was trying to cover that inside. I had it. I knew it was mine, and then just caught that little bit of dirt, and much more damaging than what we saw just there.
Yeah, certainly it is indeed a brown flag moment potentially, but right now Thomas Nassau is leading for the first time here at the Almeida Racing Academy, and all he can do is keep hoping that Gabriel Ardigo and Ian Joyner will indeed keep fighting, as there is a huge amount of battling happening further back as well. Javier Sobrino is leading that pack, and you can see here right away Yan Cheek's up there with him trying to recover. Kane Halliburton's in the mix as well, as is Brandon Priest. All of these drivers trying to find their way up to that lead pack right now as Javier Sobrino. Oh, we're going to see free wide, ladies and gentlemen. This could end very badly, and it looks like Javier Sobrino is indeed in the middle. Kane Halliburton's on the right of your screen, and Yan Cheek just able to pull ahead as they get sorted and go back to 2x2.
Yeah, better mindset there. Good racing, thinking about the end of the race. That is something that you really have to work on as a driver. You want that position. You want it now. And I often tell people in coaching, don't pass because you can, pass because you should. And there are times it comes up where you know if you make that pass, it's going to compromise you. You're not going to make up that longer position. So don't pass because you can, pass because you should. Looking up back towards the front, though, we are seeing that Ian Joyner got around Gabriel Ardigo, but it is still very, very tight. And I think that is one of those situations where passing because you can and passing because you should kind of falls into this category, because right now we see Thomas Nassau just taking off, running away from these two. They are fighting, and they don't have to fight because they are in different classes. Last race, we were watching Chloe being proper, mindful, thinking about, where am I? I'm in P3 in my class. This is a good place. I don't need to race against all these upper class drivers. So she did the right thing. But right now we've got two different classes racing for second place overall. And I think that might be the downfall for them. But for Thomas Nassau, that's exactly what he wants to see. He's really happy because he's opened that gap up to looks like over a second now, almost 2 seconds back to Ian Joyner. So he's just taking off here. He's just pulling away while these two just battle it out like a couple of thugs.
Well, fair play to them. I think they're racing more for the spirit of the racing rather than the strategic method. And fair play to them. I can't fault them for that. But there is indeed battles happening throughout the field. You can see there Kane Halliburton. He's got there Brandon Priest alongside him, ladies and gentlemen, about 0.8 of a second between. Further back, Rich Meesters, Yan Yanchik, and Javier Sobrino. They are still going hard at it. You can see a huge pack of cars. And that looks like a bit of a crumpled beer can there. That is indeed Philip Masson. He's trying to get out of the way of this battle as well. Kind of got caught up in it a little bit there, but doing what he can to let these guys pass respectfully. Further back, Chloe Charpentier has still managed to find a battle. She's got Martin Visser right behind him. Certainly Visser have been having a little bit of a spicy time recently, flirting with the grass there as they're going 3 wide yet again. This could end in tears.
I have to say, I'm really impressed with Chloe's driving here. She got spun around. She was up at the front of the pack. She got spun around. A little argy-bargy again, side by side. Not taking it. She's just saying, look, I have a right to be here. I am racing. You don't get to have the position just because you want it. And watch as she tries to go around the outside here. This is going to be a tough one to pull off, but if she gets the over-under, this is the opportunity here with that over-under. Is she going to get the run down to that short run to turn 1? Whoa, look at that overlap. I mean, that has to be numbers going in the wrong direction when you look on the timing screen between those two, because that is a clear overlap. One of the interesting things about these cars, they have that spoiler on the rear, and it's really to help not to keep the air from sucking the car slower. A lot of work is done to these bodies to make sure that they can go as fast as they can. Now they're not incredibly fast because it is a very light motor. There's not a lot of power in it, but the way these bodies are built, they're really, really slippery. So a lot of opportunity here as we watch Chloe getting up on the inside here. Is she going to make the pass this time? Looks like she is almost completely around, going into the braking zone. Going to try 2 wide once again for the over-under. Can she make it stick? No. She's going to get back up underneath that. There is overlap there. She is fighting. I got to give props. She got spun and she did not quit. Look at her working her way back up. This is amazing driving here, ladies and gentlemen. She is doing a fantastic job trying to get back up through the field.
Well, I believe something has happened to one of the people we were keeping a very close eye on, Gabriel Ardigo. Now, he was been fighting with Ian Joyner. Let's find out exactly what happened here. You see, just a little bit too hot on the gas and goes around, and that's pushed them back down into P8, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe reach the limit of grip available in them tires. But right now, what does that mean? Well, Thomas Nasul, he's now going to have to worry about Ian Joyner, ladies and gentlemen. They've got about 30 seconds left. Can he hold on for potentially one more lap?
Yeah, look at those cars just skittering through that corner. This is really tight on the edge racing here. These guys are really pushing it hard, but look at what's happened up front with that gap. Now that Ian Joyner doesn't have a battle going on, under half a second, this is going to be tight up until the end of the race. As we watch them on the last lap going through turn 1, it is getting closed up. It is under 4 tenths now, 3.5 tenths, 3 tenths. Getting up into the braking zone. Is Thomas Noisseau going to be able to hold on to this starting off in P1, holding on to it so far through the majority of the race, except for a couple of laps where Chloe was able to get ahead of him before that spin, and then going defensive, coming down, got a back marker up ahead, moving out to the outside. It's Ian Joyner trying to see if he can make this over-under work because of that defensive position. Back to the power through the corner. What's going to happen as they come up to the finish line?
Well, I do have to wonder if maybe Thomas Nassau can use the lap traffic in his advantage. Certainly, it is probably one of my, I'd say my dirtiest tricks, but no, it's completely legit, ladies and gentlemen. By all means, you can use lap traffic if he can position the car correctly. As indeed, Nassau beaten at the line, ladies and gentlemen. 400ths of a second in it, and there was something else that happened to Gabriel Ardigo. He dropped back even further right now. As you see, multiple drivers finishing. Let's try and find out what happened to Ardigo just a moment ago.
Taking a look here as we get the replay coming up. Ardigo coming in. Oh, that looks like just a little bit too late on the brakes. Was on the good side of the track, had everything he needed as far as traction out there, but missed the timing of hitting the brakes, or possibly the pressure needed on those brakes. On these cars, it really is super tight. And then dirty tires got in there. Yeah, the tires. I think that was dirty tires going into that one.
Oh, certainly it does indeed very easily happen. We've still got a couple of drivers still actually going for it, ladies and gentlemen. As right now, Adam Mika, definitely not the race he was looking for. Down three positions on that race. And Peter Abrishimov currently as well. He's down 10 positions as well, but P11 in the club class. Definitely a very interesting, very colorful race there, Michael. And I gotta admit, we're going to be interested to see what happens in the final one as well. It's going to be a little bit longer. We're going to be hitting 20 minutes this time round. Let's see how this goes down. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the results here from that race.
At the top of the chart, that's going to be Ian Joyner. Look at that gap, 0.037 back to Thomas Nuesso. Thomas was able to hold on to that lead so long and then lost it just at the end. Kane Halliburton coming in third. Brandon Priest, Rich Meesters, Javier Sorbino, Jan Janek in seventh position. Eighth, Mark Schmiada. Edwin Rivera, unfortunately, falling back to P9. Zdenek Hamak in P10.
As you can see there, Mayo Marinovic, he took P11, actually second in the club class as well, with Jacques Cortesi in 12. Kevin Adrian getting a third place in club as well. He's there, P13 overall, with Philip Falcon in 14th. Martin Visser took 15th, and we're having an absolutely fantastic race over Chloe Charpentier there in 16th. Hilary Ayanio is there in 17th, with Gabriel Diego having a bit of a rough round this time round in 18th, with Dominic Sayu in 19th, and Neil England closing out your top 20.
In 21st, Jonathan Goodman, Steven Saunders next, Philippe Masson next, Adam Mika a lap down also with Philippe Masson back there in the 24th position. Peter Abrishimov next, Mario Strelic, Yanis Theophanopoulos. I think I got it. I think I got it that time. That was pretty good. See, I get my glasses. My contacts popped out. I couldn't read. Now my glasses, I can read just fine. Connor Pell, one of our coaches, coming up a couple laps down. Looks like 11 laps down. To Thomas Niemanen back there. Manfred Floor, I think, was a DNF, as was the rest of the pack there.
Well, absolutely fantastic stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get too excited, the drivers are currently in warm-up. So what better time to have a little chat here with Swellio?
If you're a racing driver and you want to reach an advanced level, there's a faster and easier way to become competitive. I've gone from this to this in 5 years. Now, we've created the perfect free driver development guide to help you understand the right order of racing skills to develop if you want to become a competitive driver as quickly as possible. This guide was made after 3,000 hours of combined high-level coaching.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, some good words from Swellio. And if you want to be involved in this league, there is only one way to do it. You have to be a member of the Almeida Racing Academy. That is the way to do it, ladies and gentlemen. By all means, I strongly suggest it. They do have pit parties happening throughout the week. They have coaching sessions as well. That's something you can look into. You can even book the one and only Connor Bell, Kane Halliburton, and I think if you're lucky enough, you can even book Swellio as well. Certainly, there is a lot of value to be had in coaching. Don't get me wrong. If that's not really your deal, by all means, check out the Motor Racing Checklist, ladies and gentlemen. Do it more at your own pace as well. But if you want to run in this league, you do have to be part of the academy. Michael, as we get ready for the final round of the session, it's going to be 20 minutes instead. What would be your strategy going in?
I think kind of the same thing I was saying for the last heat is don't overcook it in the first bit. You can't get in there and just try to win it on the first lap. You can easily lose it on that first lap. That's going to put you in a tough position. So getting this race started, I would just try to hold on to my position, let things kind of work out, find out what people are doing around me, let them take themselves out. Getting a little bit too wide on a corner or a corner exit and getting into the dirt, that's going to really mess up your race. You don't want to do that. And that's people trying to push too hard too soon. These cars need to have the tires warm up. These cars need to have the engines warm up, and you need the driver to warm up too. That's a big thing. Is even though we've just done 2 races, you jump in here and it's like you're starting from scratch again for some people. They just forget that they are already fairly warm, and they drive like they're a cold driver. Even though like right now they're in a warm up session, they should be out there driving and enjoying the time on the track. But boy, they get themselves caught up and they overdrive the car. So again, it's really about patience. I often, when I'm coaching, I teach something called the 3 Ps. And the first P is patience. Patience is huge in racing. Sounds backwards, but racing is not about speed. Racing is about efficiency, and speed is simply the byproduct of it. So if you have that patience, patience will bring you to the next P, which is precision. And then after you get precision, then you can do the final P, which is pester the ever-living, insert whatever word you would like here, out of the guy in front of you or behind you. You can pester the person behind as well. So remembering the 3 Ps is really important. Patience, big one here in racing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's definitely not what I was expecting. Michael Johnson there with the way he approaches coaching. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Joyner is going to be starting your grid off with Thomas Nassau. I was honestly really impressed with his driving today. Well done. Made the most of that grid invert and was able to hold on for it as long as he did. He's there in second. Kane Halliburton potentially in third. I've got a feeling he is indeed going to be starting from the back. Brandon Priest is going to be there in fourth with Rich Meesters in fifth. Javier Sobrino is going to be there in sixth with Yan Cheek in seventh. Mark Schmurder in eighth, and in ninth, Edwin Riviera with Zenek Hammock is going to be there in 10th.
Mako Marinovich in 11th, Jacques Cortese in 12th, Kevin Adrian in 13th, Philip Falcon in 14th. Got our Canadian pair there together. Martin Visser coming up behind them. Chloe Charpentier, that honestly, she was my driver of the last race. She did so well, even with the spin. Watching the way she came back through the field, that was just brilliant driving all around. Ilaria Reno, Gabriel Ardigio, Domenico Sayu, Neil England is going to be your top 20.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put the rest of the grid on hold for now, ladies and gentlemen, as they are indeed getting ready to go. And I believe Kane Halliburton, you can see him there pulled off to the side. He's going to fall back through the grid. Connor Bell has indeed returned as well. Great to see these drivers are indeed back. But Ian Joyner now being at the front of the grid. It's the first time he's got to start on pole. Are we going to see an opportunity for him to potentially get away? Rich Meesters, he's been in ARA for a little while. Did not make top split before, but this season has made his way up to the top split, ladies and gentlemen. And fair to say, he's doing quite well. He's currently there in P3. He is indeed in the Premier class. Is this going to be the opportunity he's been waiting for? As ladies and gentlemen, green, and they are indeed away. Ian Joyner at the front of the pack. Thomas Asua is there in second. He's going to be on the outside with Rich Meesters up on his inside. And I can already hear carnage. Dominic Sayu has indeed got caught in the middle of an absolutely catastrophic incident. 4 or 5 cars involved already.
Really tough at the beginning of the race for some people. Not doing what I was just opining about there before the race. You gotta be patient. I know it seems counterintuitive, and as we just observed, a lot of people do not take that advice. You've got to be absolutely patient in a race. Here we are now on board with the number 30, trying to see how we can make this patience work. So notice not trying to do much of anything, not going back and forth, just sticking right in the draft right there of the car in front. That'll be Brandon Priest we are on board with. But that opportunity presents itself to get up to the inside, because braking a little bit later, not having to worry about everything else going on around. Now as we watch going back up the field just a little bit, this is a big lead pack, honestly. There are a lot of people. I would say that little trio, and then this next quad, and then the quintet behind. This is all kind of a pack. Once these guys start to shake it out a little bit, this is going to be a long straight. It's going to be like what they call in F1 the DRS train.
Oh, absolutely. The Spec Racer Ford, honestly, one of my favorite things about this car is that the pros can indeed be potent, but the draft can be enough that for some of us more amateur drivers, it gives us a shot to try and contend with them. until we make an actual pass. So somebody's gone wide there. That's Yan Cheek further back through the field, taking it a little bit wide. And then there's more chaos, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not quite sure who's just taken the scenic route there. It might be Ilari Ayanio, but definitely not what they had in mind. Certainly people moving it up through the order. But right now, hard charger in the field. This is one of them, Peter Abrishimov. He's currently up 12 positions. Attaboy Peter, and having a battle here with one of the contenders for the, if not the leader of the club class, ladies and gentlemen, Gabriel Ardigo.
Gabriel Odigo, here we are back on board with the number 60. Gonna look around the outside, but again, awareness, being patient, not going, that is the apex, I must hit the apex. That's the wrong way to think about it. This is really good driving here out of that number 60 car, and then we got that is the John Deere Award. That one definitely wins it in my book. We had two taking out huge chunks of grass.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can tell which tractor company is indeed endorsing Michael Johnson, as that freeway pack has indeed become a quartet. Michael Johnson there with the numerical acronyms, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Ian Joyner is there in the front. Thomas Nassau currently in second, with Rich Risa in third, and Edwin Rivera. He's been pretty held back so far this evening, this afternoon, or indeed this morning, wherever you may be. But Edwin Rivera, the championship leader, is currently there in the lead pack. Could this be another return to the top step? We'll have to see. Ian Joyner will have something to say about that. But Rich Meester's absolutely applying the pressure there. He doesn't care who it is. He will fight with them regardless. And fair play to him. It wouldn't stop me either.
Oh, this is really good racing as we watch the number 24. Being able to get around there just past Rich Meester. So Edwin doing a nice job and getting the draft from that little pair in front. But now that draft is going to work the other way as we watch coming down here into the next braking zone. Holding off, kind of trying to pinch him towards the outside, but nope, thinking better of it, because remember, on the inside there you got some marbles, braking's not quite as good. You can't always, especially in cars like this, where there is no ABS, you have to really be careful on the brakes, because you could get a very quick and easy lockup going in there. But this side-by-side going into the corner up onto... Woo, that was tight through that final corner, up into turn one now. Is it going to be a similar battle as they go in? Does make that stick, the number 14 getting ahead. Wow, that's some really tight racing.
Yeah, these guys are still going at it. I've actually lost count of how many corners they were side by side there, but fair play to them. They're having a lot of fun doing it. And that is exactly, to me, what racing is about. Definitely it was good there that even though he did hit the curb, able to keep the car on track. As Thomas Nassau has intentionally, he's regained that lead, but for how long? Ian Joyner's going to be on the inside. And you can see there, they're just, well, there's space being left, but it did definitely compromise his liner. Is this going to open up an opportunity here for Edwin Riviera? He got a great exit, but realistically, two cars ahead of him blocking the road. Where else can he go?
Yeah, Thomas Nassau doing a really nice job here, holding on to that front position, just keeping a nose ahead as they skirt up into turn one. I can feel the pain of those tires, and look at that beautiful positioning, really nicely placed, gets way onto the outside though. Look at that. That is what I was talking about in that first heat, is making sure you get the car placed right as you're going through those S's. Able to hold on to the lead, but for how long? Looks like, nope, just lost it again. Number 33, not quite able to hold on to it. Ian Joyner still out front, while Nassau, looks like Nassau might be losing another position.
I gotta say, Rich Meester's there with the sneak attack, ladies and gentlemen. Just goes, sticks the nose in, says thank you very much, but not able to capitalize on that. Ian Joyner very much able to pull away very slightly now. He's got about 0.7 of a second in the gap, but you can see there, Edwin Riviera, he was holding back, trying to wait for the opportunity, and then along comes Meesters. Absolutely puts a nose in. There's contact there between Riviera and Nassau.
So if you notice here, my vote for driver of the day, there she is, the number 6. Chloe is loving what she's seeing in front of her. Look at her put the gap on these guys behind her. She's letting them fight, and she's able to open up that gap. But then also in front of her, that little pack is fighting as well, which we've been paying some very close attention to. She's even got a little side-by-side action going on with the cars in front, and she's trying to catch up to them, and they're going to make it easy for her as we watch this little pack here coming back up into the corner. Someone is off track, went a little bit too wide. That's Nassau. Oh, no.
And you already see there Nassau trying to make the recovery as Kevin Adrian absolutely sneaks by. A little bit of damage there on the front of that Spec Racer Ford. But Chloe Charpentier up 10 positions right now. She's made her way not just to P6 overall, but to P1 in the club class. Absolutely fantastic result. 1,999 I rating in there, contending with drivers way above the weight class, ladies and gentlemen. I say weight class, that's just how I refer to it. Is right now, Zedek Hammer, he's still going at it with Brandon Priest, currently fighting for P4 overall.
Yeah, this is some really good racing. I had a little bit of people getting a little too over anxious, overzealous at the beginning of the race. Looks like it's really settled in for this 20-minute run of the final race. And we're seeing a lot more patience out of these drivers, a lot more thought about, do I make this pass or do I let it go? As we watch there, see the number 60 just kind of pulled out a little bit, but kept enough of a nose in there to compromise the corner for the car in front. Now, as we watch the run through here, getting up onto that left side, can he push up in there? Looks, once again, showing that nose. This is really good racing. That's going to be Gabriel Ardizio trying to put the pressure on Martin Visser. Martin is doing the right thing, not closing the gap where there isn't necessarily a gap, but still the talent of the driver able to hold on to that position. This is really good. I'm loving what I'm seeing here. The pressure being put on by Gabriel and the patience being shown by Martin.
Yeah, well, certainly. Speaking of pressure, this is something that Ian Joyner is going to be very familiar with. Himself and Edwin Riviera have had absolutely phenomenal battles so far this season, and right now they're there at the top step. I did say these two drivers would be people to keep an eye on, and for good reason, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Joyner, 4,843 I rating. Edwin Riviera, no slouch either. He's just rocking short of 3,200, and I have to say, I have had the pleasure, I say, of racing Ian Joyner side by side in the sim, but not really. He pretty much absolutely blasted by me. Incredibly potent in a Formula 1600, ladies and gentlemen. Put him in one of them, and he is an absolute machine. As is actually Kevin Adrian. You give him brain and an F1600, he finds script that I don't know how he does it. Absolutely incredible. Battles happening throughout the field. Let's check in a little bit further back here. Go back with Kevin Adrian and this whole pack of cars that literally goes down from P6. Kevin Adrian leading now from Chloe Charpentier. Something's happened to her. She was leading the club class, but still very much in with a chance. But battle here from P6 all the way down to about P11, ladies and gentlemen, overall.
Yeah, back here, as we watch this little pack, Chloe is biding her time. Look at how she's sitting there behind that outside car. She's using the draft of the car on the outside. She knows that Kevin up front there, the car that we're on board with right now, has some damage. And that damage is going to really compromise his ability as we watch that there. Wow, look at that. Just down the straightaway. So much of a speed difference. Chloe trying to pull to the outside. And little argy-bargy there. Kevin's having to hold on to that. But better braking talent through there.
Oh,
No, we're going to get a little wide. Chloe gets back into the lead. I'm telling you guys, this is my driver of the day. I think she's really done an amazing job driving today. Even with those couple of little spins and stuff that happen, the mindfulness, the awareness of what's going on around, this is the kind of driving I love to see.
Well, right now, if I was her, I'd be very, very careful. Both Martin Visser and Mayo Marinovic, I have seen them get into a few incidents so far this season. As you see, a little bit of an off track there from Visser. He's absolutely pushing it. Don't get me wrong, the Spec Racer Ford, while it isn't the most powerful car, it's maybe 130 horsepower. It is indeed a spec race, ladies and gentlemen, as it always has been here at the Almeida Racing Academy, and I believe as it should stay to be as well. It is a test truly of the driver. As you see there, Marinovic looking to try and make a move up on the inside. It backfires, then Chloe Charpentier makes her way forward. Oh my gosh, what happened there?
That was a beautiful move by Chloe. She was in the right spot from what I could see, and I think it was just it looked like lack of awareness of what was on the inside. It could have also been some net code if we see from a different angle as they come through. I don't think she did anything wrong. And I'm not even sure that the other car, the other driver, did anything wrong. I think that was just hard racing, good hard racing, and an unfortunate incident.
It definitely is very unfortunate there. She was at times leading the club class, but that indeed does change things up as Gabriel Ardigo has regained that spot, ladies and gentlemen. He is there very much leading the club class, and I do see that Charpentier has indeed left the session, understandably so. I'd be pretty for lack of better words, the Teddies would indeed be out the pram. I do have Ricky in the chat saying, I think Chloe is a cyclist from France. We should look that up at some point. And we got Mateus in Swaleo's chat as well. What is this game called? Sir, I'm going to correct you. This is not a game. This is a simulator. Now that we've had that rant, we can get that over with as we return to the front of the pack as we're watching here in iRacing there, Mateus. It is indeed the best simulator on the planet, and for good reason.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might argue with you on that. One, that it's a simulator, and two, that it's the best. I've driven a lot of them. I have my loves and hates for each of them. So, yeah, I got to agree, they do a fantastic job here. Sometimes the physics are a little odd, as we just saw with that incident with Chloe. I think in real life, that would have been a nothing burger. Absolutely nothing would have come out of that. There'd have been a little argy-bargy, maybe some paint swapped here and there, but that should not have resulted in someone being spun into the wall and unfortunately out of the race.
Yeah, as you say that, I believe something has happened with the car that was involved in that incident. Mayo Marinovic there. If you were looking for karma, ladies and gentlemen, it's just been served on a hot platter. I'm not quite sure who that is, but it's fair to say that Marinovic was considered in the way there, and they've towed back to the pits.
Indeed. Wow. So karma is not often, is usually served cold.
Yeah,
it's often said best served cold, but boy, that was about as instant as you can get from karma. That was surprising.
Drive-through karma.
There you go. Drive-through karma. And there, that purple car behind this little pack that we're watching right here, I think that's going to be Thomas Niemeyer? Is that who that was?
Yep, that's Neiman, and they're carrying a little bit of damage there to the front. But right now, we have a bit of Philippe on Philip action going on, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed France versus Canada fighting for P3 in the club class, or indeed for P13 overall.
Yeah, this is a tight little gap here, closing down under about a quarter second. This is rife right now for a pass. I think we're going to see a really good opportunity if we can get the power down just right. A little bit too much dirt in this case, though. That's going to make the pass a little harder to make. The dirt does slow you down at that spot, but good side-by-side action here as we got our Rexy livery car out in front of that there. Really good action. This is a tight little race. We're going to go too wide as we come up into this corner. I don't know how that's going to work. This could be a different too wide than I thought as we started down into this. See a little more argy-bargy. And that's what I'm talking about. That was fine. That was the same level of contact that we just saw back there that took Charpentier out. So it's frustrating sometimes when you're playing the game or driving the simulator, whichever way you'd like to phrase it, that sometimes it does something that you didn't expect because it didn't do that the last time you were there.
Yeah, that's fair. Certainly myself, I will admit it's probably the biggest flaw of iRacing is the way that contact can sometimes be handled. But let's have a little bit further back here. Gabriel Ardigo, he was leading the club class earlier on, and right now Kevin Adrian is indeed in that pack, but he's regained that despite the fact he has well, not Kevin Adrian personally, but despite the fact his car has a damaged nose. He's got Thomas Nassau up ahead of him, who I think may be giving him just a little bit of a tow. He's about half a second back, as that is a huge send by Ardigo. That almost looked like a hardware failure there. Zero braking effort applied. Let's have a quick look here at the replay and see what happened there.
I think you're right, and that was a hardware failure. This looks like, well, a lot of times with hardware failure, if it's the wheel, it just makes a hard left or a hard right. This looks like the pedals just maybe lost their connection. It's a USB connection most of the time for those pedals to get up to get the signals to the simulator. But coming up in here, yeah, either missed braking zone, which doesn't seem likely. We've been on board with this particular car before with this driver. Missing a braking zone is not something you would normally see out of the number 60, but that was I think you're right. I think something failed there. I think there was a failure in the pedals.
It was definitely an expensive mistake, and good news though for Kevin Adrian. He is now pretty much uncontended there for that lead for the club class. Certainly, we've seen Kevin Adrian have a few rough incidents, but right now, this is an absolutely fantastic battle, and it's for P3 overall, ladies and gentlemen. It starts with Brandon Priest. It's got Rich Mises in it, Zedek Hammer, and not only that, Martin Visser is slowly finding his way into that battle as well. 6/10 of a second back. He will be in the drafting range, but can he make the most of it, ladies and gentlemen? As we're going to see almost 3 wide there. They've got less than 5 minutes to go. It's actually going to be about 3 minutes left to go at this count. Are these guys going to be able to keep it in the end and keep the car in control? As right now, Brandon Priest is sitting on that final podium spot.
And this is the time when you really need to start putting the hammer down. You've spent the whole race watching what people do, letting other people make mistakes, taking their position because they spun off. So this is the time where you really need to pay attention and take advantage of those little tiny mistakes that the other drivers are going to make, either behind or in front. So right now we're looking at this little pack. This is a very fast group of drivers. I think we're going to see some advantage being taken. Now, trying to hold on to that draft. Look at that. So you've got him pulling out of the draft, still trying to defend this corner. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? The number 64 going into there, Rich Meesters. Rich looks like he's going to make up a position back into 4th overall and holding on to there, but getting out of the draft of the car in front. Whoa. Brandon Priest up into P3, and it looks like Meesters is just not trying to get that draft. But if we are on with
Visser.
Yeah, we are on with him right there, but we need to be watching what's going on right behind. That was 3 wide going into that corner, and now they're going 3 wide again as we come up through here. This is some racing that I think, honestly, Brandon is really enjoying watching in his rearview mirror, because it's allowing him to open up this gap. The gap behind him now over 2 seconds. And those 3 behind are all within 0.2 of a second of each other and just battling it out, where they're allowing Brandon to pull away. And oh no, that's going to be 2 of that crew off, at least 1 mostly out. And it looks like Meesters is going to be able to pull ahead, making the most of that little argy-bargy that happened back there.
Well, in that episode of Survivor, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, Rich Meesters was not voted off the island. But right now, absolutely fantastic stuff. They got less than a minute to go. Edwin Riviera, he's fallen 2 seconds back to Ian Joyner. Joyner able to pull away. Brandon Priest, we've just seen him be able to get a 3-second gap ahead. But right now, the biggest battles are indeed happening over here. Zedek Hammer, he was getting involved in that incident just a moment ago. You see the damage, and he's going to be a sitting duck. It's like a whole swarm of buzzing bees are right behind him. The 22 car, Mark Schmerder, he's going to be looking to try and make the most of that. But over on Kevin Adrian, he's currently leading the club class. He's got Philip Mason, who is quite a considerable way back. He just needs to survive at this point. How hard is he going to fight? But we are indeed in the final 30 seconds of this race.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tight finish for this pack. Look at all the damage on Kevin's car, though. I'm surprised he's able to keep it going straight. I'd be curious to see if we have a camera on board to see just how off-center his wheel is, because with that much damage, I think he's probably looking at about a 90 degree. Nope, I am wrong. Look at how straight he's able to keep that wheel. I could have sworn that would have been like at least 45 degrees off to one side or the other.
Yeah, certainly the tie rods have indeed managed to stay intact, as Ian Joyner, ladies and gentlemen, is going to take the checkered flag under... well, I'd say undefeated, but absolutely fantastic result there. Edwin Riviera, a huge contender for him. And not only that, Brandon Priest, I think that might be his best result here in the ARA. He's going to be very happy with that result. Rich Meesters as well. Definitely nothing to shake a stick at. I remember racing Rich Meesters before the ARA, and fair say to him, and he would agree that I had him pretty much licked. Now, nah, not a chance. I do have to wonder, though, are we going to see some acrobatics, perhaps, from a few drivers? Certainly, there is a particular show I can remember producing where the end of the race meant carnage, and it was beautiful for it. But what an absolutely fantastic session of racing we was treated to today.
Yeah, beautifully done from the drivers. A couple of little surprising bits, but I think for the most part, that last race, everybody thought about the end of the race. The first 2 were just trying to feel people out. I think they didn't care as much about those, but when it came to that final race, boy, did we see what people were made of. It was really good racing. People wanted to make sure they got to the end of the race, and did the most they could to move their way through the field. Honestly, kudos to everyone on that race.
Absolutely. And what I can tell you as well, Chloe Charpentier did indeed return to the track. So definitely some good news there. We're going to do the results, ladies and gentlemen, and then we're going to mix it up a little bit as well. We're going to do the overall, and then we're going to try and separate them out a bit. Let's see how if you guys can get a bit of appreciation on that. We'll try it. We'll do it this week, ladies and gentlemen, and just see exactly how that went down. As here we go. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, you can see there Ian Joyner was able to take P1. Tell you what, let's do it on the fly. We got the colours. Edwin Riviera took second with Brandon Priest in first. Rich Meesters was there in fourth with Thomas Nassil. Absolutely fantastic drive today by the Frenchman. He's there in fifth. Danek Hammock, honestly, he got involved in a couple of incidents, still able to hold on to P6 there with Mark Schmurder in seventh and Adam Meeker in eighth. Kevin Adrian, out of boy Kevin, he takes the win for the club class today in ninth with Jack Scorsese closing out your Jack Coetzee closing out your top 10.
Philippe Masson in P11, and he is going to be second in the second class there with Philip Falcon right behind him, also in class. Thomas Niemanen is next with Martin Visser. Ilari Arino, Javier Sobrino, Neil England moving up a couple of positions into 17th. Jan Jancic, Stephen Saunders in 19th, and P20 is going to be Peter Brishamov.
As we have a look at 21st, Dominic Sayou was there along Chloe Charpentier. Definitely the recovery, she was not quite able to get there. But fair play to her, an absolutely phenomenal drive. And ladies and gentlemen, we would love to see more women getting involved in motorsport as well. Certainly Pit Road Productions, we have hosted a women-only series before. Certainly if you want to check that out, by all means, look through the history. But we'd love to see, and maybe indeed be putting on something again. But as we continue though, Gabriel Ardigo, a little bit of a rough ending for him. He's there in 23rd with Mayo Marinovic there in 24th. Mario Strelak is there in 25th. Connor Bell, sadly, and Kane Halliburton getting caught up a little bit in that race. The two Almeida Racing Academy coaches, and indeed absolutely phenomenal drivers that they are. Jonathan Gutman's there in 28th with Yanis Viapanopoulos in 29th. And closing out your field was Manfred Floor, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it is indeed time to get the interview portion under the way. Now, let's... I think Ian Joyner might be muted. Let's see if he is indeed here. Michael, have you been able to catch up with our race winner for the final, for the main feature?
Indeed, I have. Ian, that was quite a couple of races you had going on there. A lot of door-to-door, a lot of patience from time to time. How did that play out in the car?
It's loads of fun. Yeah, it kind of flew by. Definitely sort of a mixture of flying by, but also feeling like a few long races, especially when you're side by side for so long. They're all great. Obviously, they worked out pretty well this time, which was really nice. But yeah, a lot of fun. Great, really good track actually. I did a couple of officials this week and didn't get so much of a race. I knew it'd be more fun here. Unfortunately, I missed the pit party, so I wasn't entirely sure what it's going to be like wheel to wheel. But yeah, Edwin in particular is such a good driver, and really fair. So we're side by side so much, but also with Gabrielle, and felt a little for Thomas as well, just nipping him to the line on the second one after he drove him so clean.
Yeah,
but yeah,
indeed,
it was good fun, pretty intense.
Intense racing for sure. Now, this is the short version of this track, the club version of Sebring. Did it feel like these 15-minute races were more 45-minute, and then the 20-minute race was 3 hours to you? Or did it just, oh, well, hey, look, it's done already?
I don't know if certainly you don't get much of a rest, that's for sure. And the concentration's super high, because it is, a few of the people chatting about it in the academy this week, that it's on paper it's like a bit like Tsukuba. It's similar length, similar number of turns. But the bumps here, and the fact that the lines are just so much more narrow, because you kind of have those nice sweeping radiuses at Tsukuba. You've got a bit of margin for error. There's very little margin for error here. Very easy to lock wheels, as we saw a fair bit of. So it's not easy driving that close, and no one just losing their own car under themselves. So it's it's more the concentration, I think, just particularly the surface and the tight lines. Yeah.
For sure. Now, was there any spot in there where you felt like, oh, this is not going to work out for me? I thought I had it going on, but didn't quite happen.
There's a few. I think that race one, we had, was it Dominic came out of the pits? I guess probably didn't realise exactly where he was going to be, and then was just right in the middle of the track, and wasn't sure which way to go. Went around the outside. I thought I was in reasonable position then, but still ran off on the outside. Luckily, all three of us in the race got back on in one piece, so that was really scary, but we all survived, so that was good. And then start of race 2 as well. I mean, I didn't help that, and I'm not sure exactly what happened behind, but we had a long grid wait, so it was suggested it'd be a good idea to turn the engine off. I have had engines blow up on these before when you've just been sat there, so turned mine off, didn't turn it back on again. Which is not great because I just didn't get moving for a little while. I know that can cause sort of stack-ups behind. Then the race was at least 3 wide into the first corner. Definitely took a patient approach there. That did pay off. I think Kevin came down the inside, and then I feel for him. I think he got hit rear-ended when I was on the inside of him. So a little bit of luck, a little bit of patience getting through there. And then just,
I do recall there was one spot where there were people 4 wide even in a corner. So it gets to be pretty crazy.
Gabriel came up, didn't he? 3 wide with me. Yeah, that was a bit scary, but just about survived. And that was probably the toughest sort of wheel to wheel bit, was getting past. It was Gabriel, wasn't it? Yeah, in the second race, and then that little gap to Thomas after that. But yeah. Good fun.
Sure. Well, brilliant day for you today. Lots of fun. Is there anyone you would like to thank?
Obviously the Academy. I think this is a great car for learning. It definitely gives you get lots to sort of exploit from the workshops and everything. So it's good to see. Thanks to the people running the Academy. Thanks to everyone who's taken part as well. Some really just so much fun having close wheel to wheel racing like that. And thanks to you guys for putting the broadcast on.
Well, that was your race winner, Ian Joyner, today, having a fantastic race. But I think Zippy has found one of our other drivers here to have a little conversation with.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we do indeed have Edwin Riviera in with us. Now, Edwin, you've definitely been a potent driver throughout the season so far. It's been an absolute belter. Tell us a bit about how your day went.
Started pretty good, and then I shot myself in the foot pretty much. I started from pits on the second race because I thought we had a 3-minute break, and it was a 3 minutes to grid, so I messed up on that one. So I just had to make the most out of it. I tried to make a big comeback. Ended up P9. I could have probably been a little more patient at the beginning, and maybe I would have picked up a couple more spots. But not a terrible result considering that. And for quali, I knew I had to pick up the trap from somebody because that's how the quali laps were going. So I was almost starting P10, ended up starting P3 and battling with Ian there. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun today, and it mixed it up with the second start from the pits, and I really had a lot of fun. I was probably a little bit aggressive, bumping a lot of doors, but I had a lot of fun. Hopefully, I didn't mess up anybody's race.
Well, Edwin, certainly yourself, you came into this round leading the championship. We're going to hope you can keep it up. Certainly, we've seen some good competition between yourself and Ian Joyner. I'd say he's probably going to be your biggest rival. Now, we just had Ian in the booth a minute ago. Any words for Ian Joyner for the next round?
Yeah, I mean it's starting to be some very, very good racing with Ian. He was in top form today. I mean I think he won all 3 races, so he was definitely in top form, and it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. The first race was really fun, and then the last race, I had a little mistake towards the last few laps, and we were pretty much running similar laps, so I couldn't get back on the draft. But yeah, it's gonna be fun with Ian. And it makes it interesting, because it makes us better too. So next week, just get a little more prepared, get a little more competitive, and just stay out there battling with him. I think Gabriel was up there with us as well, and I don't know what happened in his second and third race, but we do have a drop week, so both of those guys are definitely up there in the championship with me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is indeed Edwin Riviera. He came in leading the championship. We're going to have to wait until next week to find out exactly how he did. Put your hands together, though, for the driver of the number 24. Indeed, a very potent one indeed, especially in the spec race of Fords. Almost undefeated at the start of the season, but now, as the drivers are coming in, applying a little bit more competition there. But certainly, second place in the main feature. Fair play to you, but we're going to have to wait until next week.
Can I say something real quick?
Go for it. What you got?
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to my family in Puerto Rico. Saludo. I think they're tuning in to YouTube, so shout out to them. Thanks for tuning in.
Well, I'll tell you what, to continue what Edwin was saying, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit the like, the subscribe button. We're on YouTube for Pit Road Productions. We're on YouTube for Suelio Almeida. And we're actually on Twitch for Pit Road Productions as well. Hit the go button on all of those. Certainly, Edwin, by all means, please put that on your family to do that, and indeed all your friends. But ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed going to have to bring this show to a close. It is a absolute belter of a season we've had so far with the Almeida Racing Academy, or indeed the Almeida Racing League, sponsored by Podium One, World of Racing, and indeed Logitech. A huge thank you to those people for supporting. But if you're looking for something to do today, I believe Suelio is actually racing at IMSA Day for Road Atlanta, so 100% go and check that out. Cheer on our fearless leader, ladies and gentlemen. But that's it from me. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today for the first time, I believe, on Pit Road Productions, Mr. Michael Johnson. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
If you're a racing driver and you want to reach an advanced level, there's a faster and easier way to become competitive. I've gone from this to this in 5 years. Now, we've created the perfect free driver development guide to help you understand the right order of racing skills to develop if you want to become a competitive driver as quickly as possible. This guide was made after 3,000 hours of combined high-level coaching.